What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Gloss Garage, where we make detailing simple. My name is Sak, and today I have something special for you guys. So today we're polishing, and there will be a video on this, but we are reviving this 2013 Mercedes-Benz CLS 63, and pretty much it's here to go get a one-step, enhance the gloss, enhance the shine. This car was super contaminated. We removed all the contamination off the paint, but now it's gonna get ready to get polished. While my wife is doing the interior, I'm going ahead and going to measure the paint, and this is part of the video where when does a paint depth gauge come in handy. So lately we've been using the NexPTG. I used to have the Putty test. It's around here somewhere, but back in my older videos, I think I did a Scion FRS, I had the Putty test. It's the same thing, but this one is just digital and it could go on your phone, and pretty much it comes in something like this. So what is a paint depth gauge? Pretty much it gives you a estimate of how much paint you have, if it's a thick layer of paint, if it's not, and also whether the paint is original or not. You could go ahead and tell, but also this paint depth gauge will go ahead and tell you that. So the hood looks a bit cloudy, it looks off, and same thing with a couple of the side fenders, because I'm like, it has a lot of texture and orange peel. But sometimes BMWs and also Mercedes-Benz and stuff like that with high performance engines, for some reason, if again it's an older vehicle, it's been neglected for a while, typically all that heat that's coming from the engine for some reason makes this look opaque or orange peel or faded. But I went ahead and grabbed the paint depth gauge, and we're gonna get ready to polish. So this will tell you whether the result you're gonna get is gonna be achievable or not. So here it is. So I put it down and it tells you whether it's original paint or not. So as you can see, it tells me 205. So let me bring you guys closer. This way you guys can go ahead and see. So what I am doing is going around the entire hood, and it tells you second layer of paint, meaning that the paint is not original. So as I move on, so the whole hood is pretty much repainted. Now, if I go to the side fender here, this paint depth gauge will go ahead and tell me the same thing, only on this right side. So it looked like they feathered in a bit of this area as well. But as I come down here, it is paint layer is original. So this is a great tool to have, and we have some decent paint here. But as I move around to the other side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check out this fender, and we have low amount of paint. Typically 100 microns is, pretty low. You could go down to 78, 80. That's when you're like really destroying the clear, or the last layer of clear that you have. But here we're just going to do a light polish, so we're probably going to remove probably like 3 microns or mils. I forgot which one it is, but from 106 to probably like 102, stuff like that. And now when we move on to the back end, right here, it can even tell you whether it has been filled up with putty. And the owner did tell me, he said it's all original paint. Maybe the owner didn't know. Probably they did this off the books, not through an insurance company. It was never put into Carfax. But when you click here, it tells you a thick layer of putty. So this whole fender has been either had a bad accident, of course, a huge dent, and then obviously they feathered the paint off on this side. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to this side, where it's another layer of just not original paint. So up here I think is original, if I remember. Nope. See, second layer of paint. Over here to the left is original. So it looks like they feathered from this right fender over to the left. And yeah, So up here is original paint. So yeah, so hopefully this gives you an idea what really a paint depth gauge is, and it's not going to go ahead and tell you absolute what amount of clear it's left on the paint. That's not what it's meant to do. And you guys are dangling, so hopefully you guys are still with me. So yeah, so it just gives you a rough estimate of how much paint is left, and I think this fender is not original either. Oh, this door is original. The next door next to me is not, but it says paint layer is original. So yeah, so we're gonna polish the entire paint. So what's going to happen is when we polish the entire vehicle and we polish the entire paint, what's gonna happen is some areas gonna look blotchy, not as glossy, not as not as refined, and I don't know why. All right, everyone, so hopefully this video just went ahead and gave you a little bit more knowledge of what a paint depth gauge is. It's not an absolute form to go ahead and tell you how much clear you have left. It's just more of a great way to know how much paint is there. And like I said, typically anything under, for me, is like anything under like 85 mils is something where I'll go ahead and be wary about to go ahead and polish. There's not a lot of clear to go ahead and work with, but typically all manufacturers are different. But this was a great tool to go ahead and have and actually know and let the customer know after we polish the vehicle that some areas may not look the same just because everything is not factory. You have a thick layer of putty, you have that they filled in with a bunch of putty, as you saw that the paint depth gauge told you. Also, a lot of areas that has been repainted. So that's something that you really want to be mindful of, and always use a paint depth gauge as a source of, how do I say, as an estimate source of the history of the vehicle. That's just about it. That's all you really need, a paint depth gauge, just to have an idea and an estimate if you're able to polish, if you're not able to polish, if you're able to compound and polish. This way you're not compromising the clear and then you're the one in trouble because you compounded and burned through the paint. But hopefully you guys found this informative, and I will link this down below. It's a great tool to have, especially if you're polishing frequently. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.